This is basically the whole rib cage. They cut it somewhere right there close to the middle. The top part is called a baby back because it's higher up on the back. And the bottom part is called the spare rib. In this case, St. Louis spare rib. Ever heard the expression, high on the hog? It has a real history, you know. One is meatier and in some people's opinions, fattier and tastier. The other leaner, but oh so softer, and I know which one I usually prefer, but this day the tables were turned, which goes to show how every rack of ribs can be different from one to the next. It could be the brand, the breed, or the farm it was raised on. Which rib is your favorite and why? Put that in the comments below. Let's get these ribs trimmed, seasoned, and smoked on the RecTech pellet grill and see which one wins for me today. It's not what I expected. Let's fire it up. All right, let's get a little bit of parquet on here and use this as our binder today. Now you don't have to have any kind of a binder, really and truly, but I like to use parquet. Today's prep process is really simple. The hard part, the long part is really just going to be the cooking. This is OG, which is just a straight salt, pepper, garlic, and I took about a cup of OG and used 3/4 of a cup of light brown sugar to sweeten it up a little bit, and that's what we're going to use today. And it is pork, and I like a little hint of sweet on my pork, so really that's all we need to do. Just a nice light coat of OG with a little sugar in there. We're going to go ahead and let these set here while I go fire up the RecTech outside. All right, here we go. We're going to pull this rack out a little bit. There we go. Just so we can get our baby backs in the back. They're a little thicker, so I want them in the back where I think there's a little tiny bit more heat. Put the spare ribs right here. And I would say we are good to go. All right, let's close the lid up and get her done. All right, friends, it's been exactly 1 hour. It's time to spritz the ribs. I have a little bit of apple juice here. I'm gonna pull these out just a little bit so I can get them spritzed. Get them nice and wet. This helps keep the surface of the rib from getting too tough or chewy. All right, close it back up. We're still running at 300 degrees. We're gonna let it sit there another hour and see where we're at. We're sitting at exactly 2 hours and 10 minutes. You can tell this part here is cooking a little bit more than the other side, so what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna trade places with them. Grip on there really nice. Put that one on that side, put that one on this side. We're gonna give them about another 20 minutes and then we're gonna wrap them because they're looking pretty nice right now. We're still cruising at 300 degrees. I think I'll spritz them before I close the lid one more time. Fourth spritz, I've done it about every 30 minutes, more or less. All right, we'll be back in 20 minutes. Give them a wrap. So we already wrapped our baby back. We're gonna wrap the pork spare ribs the same way. I'm gonna take off this last little bone here on the end because it's just gonna poke foil anyway. So we laid a little barbecue sauce underneath the ribs. You can see where these are pulling back quite a bit more. And this is because it's thinner, number one, and it might have been a little bit hotter on that side of the pellet smoker. So we're gonna wrap this up. I like to do a double seal wrap. So I've got double foil. I'm gonna fold it over one time. I'm gonna fold it over one more time. I call that the double seal. All right, we're gonna fold the ends over twice as well. 1, 2, same thing over here. 1 and 2. All right, friends, let's go back out there to the pellet smoker. We've been cooking at 300 degrees all since we started. It's been right at 2.5 hours right now. So I'm gonna lower it down to 250. I'm gonna let them finish off a little bit slower because if you finish them a little slower, you keep a little more moisture in the meat. All right, my friend, it's been a little over 4 hours and 20 minutes all together from the minute we put them onto the RecTech 1250. They had a 20-minute rest, so they could have rested a little bit longer, but 20's plenty. All right, let's open up the spare ribs first. They're still laying in there upside down. That juice is really nice looking. I have a saying in my competition classes, if the juice is good, the rib is good. See what she looks like. Let's see what she looks like. Ooh-wee. Look at that pretty rib right there. Beautiful color, nice wet looking rib. Let's take the baby back out here too. Ooh-wee, look at that. She looks pretty. Look how the bones pulled back real nice on the baby back too. You can see them protruding on both sides. You can see where the skin was starting to peel off from that heat. So you can see that that's one of the reasons I don't like to pull it off on a backyard rib, because it's pretty much going to fall off anyway, as you can see here. All right, let's flip them over, see what we got. Yep, nice and pretty, just like the other ones. They both look gorgeous. I don't like a whole lot of heavy sauce on mine. I just like a nice, wet little rib. Okay, I'm going to get the baby backs out of the way. I'm going to leave those for last. They're starting to almost fall apart on me. All right, friends, now the sauce I use today is another one that I really enjoy a lot. I use it once in a while. It's made by Trigger Happy, and it's called the Red Bandit, which is a Texas-style flavor, but with a little more sweet in there. Really a great sauce. Highly recommend it. All right, let's slice into these ribs and see what kind of goodness we got in here. Man, they slice like butter. Of course, you know Arnie Tex always says that a sharp knife also makes the job a lot easier too, doesn't it? These look nice, very nice. Not too saucy, not too sticky, just a good backyard rib. That's the kind of rib I like. Let's take a big old bite and see what he looks like. You see that pretty little smoke ring? That's from the pellet grill, but that's a beautiful little smoke ring that we got on there. Just gorgeous. Let's take a bite. Look at that. Now that's a clean bite through rib. It's super moist, super delicious, super soft. Just a really, really good rib. I really like it. I'm gonna have to take another bite. Maybe two. Wow, really, really good. Only thing that makes that rib better, like I always say, it's a nice cold beer. Today it's Lone Star. Cheers. Now baby backs are a little tricky to slice. This one's just about falling apart, so I'm gonna help it out a little bit. There we go. Fell right off. Check that out. Here's a cool thing you can do. You can cut them from the back. That bone's pretty much gone, so I'm just gonna slice it right there. I'm gonna slice this right here like this. Just another trick for you guys in case, in this case, we don't have a bunch of barbecue sauce on here, so it's not gonna really matter. Man, look at that. Beautiful smoke ring. Look at the moisture on there. Just super moist. I'm just gonna grab one of these right here in the middle. Look how moist they are. Just super moist. Wowza. Look how soft and juicy this rib is. It pretty much, it doesn't fall off the bone, but it pulls off really nice and easy. Look at that. Slides right out. Oh man, is that sweet or what, man? That is cool. Look at that. Just awesome baby back rib. Now if this was a baby backs versus spare ribs, which do you like best? Which one did I like best? I want to tell you they're both really amazing, and I normally prefer baby back flavor, but for some reason today that St. Louis spare rib had better flavor. And you guys saw me prepare them. We did them exactly the same, but today it seems like the St. Louis spare ribs had a little more fat in there, and that fat really, in my opinion, enhanced the flavor a little bit more. Tell me, which one do you prefer most of the time? What do you normally cook at your house? Guys and girls, thank you for watching, man. We appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys are interested in my WOW rub, it's pitmaster.us. OG rub, same website, pitmaster.us. If you guys are interested in upping your barbecue game, I have a class for spare ribs and baby backs in my online barbecue class at pitmasterclass.us. Y'all go check it out. I guarantee you'll like it. Thanks for watching, folks. Remember to keep the smoke light and make it work. Boom!